Welcome back. For the last 30 years, the Family Addiction Support Service in Glasgow has been helping those affected by a loved one's habit. Many turn to the charity feeling isolated and alone, but they're supported in their darkest times by staff and councillors who've had similar experiences. In her special report, Amy Dunsmuir has been meeting some of those involved in the project.
If we could have a magic wand and say to them, don't try drugs, because it can lead to death.
And once the funeral's finishes and you come back home, there's nobody here. That's when it really kicks in.
Addiction isn't just about the addict. There's a ripple effect that affects everybody round about them that comes into contact with them.
It's a mask we put on. We put a mask on, but deep down inside, we're hurting.
Every year in Scotland, hundreds of people die as a result of addictions, leaving families destroyed. In 2014, there were 613 drug-related deaths, a 16% rise on the year before. For the last 30 years, one Glasgow charity has been offering help and support to those affected by a loved one's addiction, families like the Donatellos.
She had a lot of nice friends, no friends that stuck by her and things like that, and she would play with her friends round the back. Now we get down and lift her over the fence and bring her up. And that was the routine.
Their daughter Pauline died aged just 21 after a drugs overdose in 1999.
She did get made redundant, and she was desperate to get another job, and she was going through the centre to the job centre, and she befriended people, and we started seeing a wee change in her, and she was staying out longer. And before, she was out so long, didn't have mobiles then, but she would phone you and say, I'm running a wee bit late, I'm going to be here. She would be up the road. Although she was always very tall and slim, but she was a grubber, she loved her food, so she would always make sure she was up for her dinner time, home for tea. And then she was staying out longer, and just seen a difference in, she was 19, so she was an adult. I was going, where is this all coming from? And then it was I can't remember how long after this all started when she actually told me that I actually thought she was smoking. I thought she was smoking hash. I didn't realise it was the heroin.
And I was doing a night shift, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I got a phone call from my work for the CID on the house, and they phoned the work. I goes, I can't leave the work, I can't just walk away.
Well, you just started.
Because it was just a shock of getting a call saying that the police were in the house, you know. And I go, what is it, this time of the morning for? And my wife took the phone and she says, they've told us that Pauline's dead. She was found, they found in a close. The loneliness starts kicking in.
Aye.
When the euphoria of the 2 weeks.
Aye.
And then the eventual funeral. And once the funeral's finishes and you come back home, there's nobody here. That's when it really kicks in, that she'll not come through the door again.
After her daughter died, Margaret attended a bereavement group run by the Family Addiction Support Service.
I'm at work and ignoring the phone calls.
Since 1986, FAS have been working to help those affected by the city's drug problem. The charity first began life as the Glasgow Association of Family Support Groups, set up by a group of parents who were concerned by the level of drug abuse in Glasgow.
It came from very humble beginnings. There was 4 parents initially, seen a need for something to happen for themselves. The powers that be at the time were starting to look after the addicts, but there was nothing for families, so they got together, and it came from the humble beginnings to the point that it is now that we're the major organisation for family support in the city. I think the drugs are changing, yeah, and I think it's always the case that most people tell you it's very misleading, that name, legal high. Because young kids think, oh, it's legal, so it must be, I'm able to do it, and people get themselves into a situation that they don't realise that they're getting themselves into, and then obviously they can't get out of it, and then it has the adverse effect on them, and in turn has an adverse effect on the family. Young people are going to try things different, you know, they want to see what things are like and all that, you know, but if we could have a magic wand and say to them, don't try drugs, because it can lead to death, obviously. But the devastation it creates through it, you know, a drug addict's use in life is tremendous to them.
30 years on, and the charity now have more than 180 members and run 21 support groups across the city. These women come to this support group every week. They are kinship carers, looking after their grandchildren, nieces and nephews because their parents struggle with addiction. It's becoming a growing trend across the country. 60,000 children are affected by parental drug use every year, with 65,000 affected by a parent's alcohol problem. Having the opportunity to meet with other people in a similar situation is a lifeline for these women.
If you didn't have this support, like we've just got one new lady, again we get new ladies every week, maybe one every week, and we've just got one new lady, and her words was today was, I thought I was the only mother who had a boy who had addiction, and we all looked at her and we went, look around, and she looked at her and she says, but if I seen yous out in the street walking, you wouldn't think. I says, because it's a mask we put on. We put a mask on, but deep down inside, we're hurting. When you come in here, as I say, we have discussions. But before you come in here, you could have the whole world on your shoulders and you come through that door. But you know nobody in this room, in this group, is going to judge you. I think if I didn't have this group, I don't know what would happen. I really don't know what would happen to me.
The charity is helped by numerous volunteers across the city. Tony Donaghy is one of those people. He battled with numerous addictions for 21 years. Now, 11 months into recovery, he volunteers with FAST to help others overcome their addictions.
I got involved with FAST because addiction isn't just about me, it's not just about the addict, there's a ripple effect that affects everybody round about them that comes into contact with them. So you can't just come into recovery and ignore the wake of carnage you've left behind you, because addicts do a lot of damage. No intentionally, I mean, people are what they are. The fact is, there's a lot of misconceptions around addiction. They think a lot of it is selfish, but it is selfish behaviour, I'm not going to lie about that, but people don't choose to be addicts. I mean, this isn't a choice we make. People can only go into recovery when they're ready. You can force people to go into recovery, people can do it for the wrong reasons, that's one thing, but understanding and empathy is a massive part of it, because somebody who isn't an addict or has never suffered from addiction can't truly understand what the addict's going through. Fair enough, they suffer it from their side of it, from their perspective, but the addict is suffering just as much as they are. I think only addicts can support other addicts. Unless you've got an experience of addiction, a personal experience of addiction, then you couldn't possibly understand what an addict's going through. You can help, you can support, you can empathise, but addicts are best suited to helping addicts. That's just the way it is. Because there's certain things that people who have never suffered from addiction can never understand.
With 30 years of life-saving services under their belt, the biggest challenge for the future of the charity is funding. They know that in order to keep providing these vital services, they need cash, but they're determined to keep going for at least another 30 years. Amy Dunsmuir, STV News.
And that's it for the moment. From all of us here in the STV News team, enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye for now.